you've got one quarterback, Kimmy, that you're worried about here.
Florio, don't be mad at me. I'm not saying to sit him. I'm just saying to beware of Josh Allen. Obviously, there won't be crazy wins and all that madness that happened in that game against the Patriots, but he's only had 3+ passing touchdowns once in the last 5 games. The Bills probably very upset that they also have to face Tom Brady and a very tough Buccaneers defense. The same defense that have allowed just 20+ fantasy points to one quarterback in the last 6 games. So love Josh Allen season long, just not so much in this matchup.
Yeah, I got a surprise for you, Kimmy. I'm saying start all Bucks in this game. Look, the Bucks score over 31 points per game, the most in the league. They pick up over 400 yards per game, the second most in the NFL. And the Bills seem like a tough matchup on paper, but we've seen you can run against them. And this is their first real test without Trey White in the secondary. So, Bills fans, I'm sorry. Belichick, Brady are teaming up again to ruin your season. I'm ready to get hurt again.
Let's break the curse. That's going to happen at some point. Let's get to the Cowboys and the football team. And Mike McCarthy says the Cowboys will win this game, Marcus.
Maybe. I'm saying that you should be aware of Antonio Gibson in this. By the way, I like how people have somehow twisted this into a Mike McCarthy guarantee when I didn't really pick that up at all. But anyway, J.D. McKissic could be back for the football team in this one, which takes away a lot of the potential passing game work for Antonio Gibson. Plus, teams aren't really running the football on the Cowboys. Some of it is because of the game script, and Dallas scores so much you sort of have to abandon the running game. But you have that potentially coming into play this week, which limits Gibson's touches on the ground. If he's not going to catch the football, it's really hard to trust him this week.
All right, well, Marcus, sticking in this game, sticking also with the running back, but on the other side of the ball, I have a sit. I would change this to a beware if we find out that Tony Pollard is not going to suit up and play. The Cowboys being a little bit more optimistic regarding Ezekiel Elliott and that injury, saying that he's trending a little bit upwards. But the thing is, Zeke just hasn't really been Zeke this season. He's only had plus 20 fantasy points once in the last 7 games and fewer than 100 scrimmage yards in 6 straight. If Tony Pollard's on the field, it's a full sit for me, but if Zeke is going to be the RB1, I say start him, but just temper your expectations.
From there, we go to Super Bowl 23 all over again. 49ers and Bengals. 2 questions, Florio. Were you alive for this game? And who are you starting in this one?
I was not alive for that game, and I would be starting T. Higgins in this one. Look, over the last 2 weeks, you see it there. He's the wide receiver 1, averaging 26 fantasy points per game. He has more targets than Jamar Chase when they both play, and we know he is the preferred red zone option. Plus, the Niners have allowed a top 12 wide receiver in 3 of their last 4 games. So I think Higgins is a strong start this week.
Hey, look, it's John Candy. Only older people will get that one. I got a sleeper in JaMychal Hasty. We talked about the Niners running back situation at the top of the show. Elijah Mitchell is out. And yes, Jeff Wilson is probably going to be the starter, but I don't imagine Kyle Shanahan is going to lean solely on him in the running game. We always want a part of that 49ers backfield as much as possible. I do expect that JaMychal Hasty is going to see touches, and he just has home run potential. That speed means he can take it to the house anytime he touches the ball.
Marcus and I holding it down for not just the people who were alive during Super Bowl 23, but who remember the
John
game.
Candy.
Oh, my goodness. Let's go to an AFC West rivalry. Raiders-Chiefs. Kick us off for your squad, Kimmy.
Listen, I got my curls out to match my guy, Patrick Mahomes, because he's a must start. And I've been so good this season to not always, thump on the Chiefs bandwagon and say to start Patrick Mahomes. And it seems silly to say he is a must start, but I think all 4 of us this season have seen a lot of questions regarding Patrick Mahomes. Should I start Patrick Mahomes or Taysom Hill? Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts? He still is the QB6 on the season in terms of fantasy football. Historically, he does very well against the Raiders. Just when he played them back in Week 10, he had 406 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. It's a rival game. It's Patrick Mahomes. Go ahead and start the man.
Yeah, that was like 6 minutes ago. You've got to start Patrick Mahomes against the Raiders. Who cares about the rest of how things? As you said, QB6, and on the other side, I say you must start Josh Jacobs. The Raiders are playing against the Chiefs defense that is so much improved from early on in the season, but in the last 4 weeks, they've given up 25 points per game to running backs. We saw Javonte Williams go over 30 last week, and Jacobs is really the lead back and caught all 9 of his targets a week ago. You must start Josh Jacobs. Maybe we'll get a score fest in this particular game.
That
would be a fun one. We're back here on NFL Fantasy Live. So is Justin Fields as the Bears visit Lambeau Field, and we're trying to figure out what exactly is going to happen. We do know Justin Fields is back on the field. The other circumstances a little bit questionable, but we do have a running back that is very good, and he probably can hand the ball off to, right?
Probably. But by the way, welcome back from your global travel from the last segment. But
yeah, a lot.
we should beware of David Montgomery this week. And part of it is because Justin Fields is back and is playing. And so far this season, Montgomery's averaged almost 6.5 fewer fantasy points per game with Justin Fields. And part of it is because Fields is not a guy who targets his running backs. Only 4 starting quarterbacks this year target RBs at a lower rate than Fields. Plus, got that Packer defense, which they're not spectacular, but they are slightly above average when it comes to defending the run. So this just seems like a bad situation, even if Montgomery gets volume.
On the other side of it there, I think you could start Marquez Valdez-Scantling in this one. He has 19 targets in his last 2 games combined with at least 9 in both. Giving you nearly 16 fantasy points per game in that span. And as the birthday boy Adam Rank will tell you, Aaron Rodgers thrives against the Bears. So I expect Devontae Adams and the second wide receiver there, MVS, to have a good day.
Let's go to the Ravens and the Browns. Kimmy, who are you starting in this particular game?
Ooh, I just hope it's a better game than the one we saw a few weeks ago. But I'm going to start with Kareem Hunt, right? I know that he only scored 2 points in his game back from injury, but the guys are probably rested up, right? You're coming off of a bye week. This is a competitive game between 2 incredible teams. And right now, as I'm trying to look to get into the fantasy playoffs, I want a mid-range RB2 who has a decent floor. That is Kareem Hunt. He's been a top 25 running back in 5 of the last 7 games played. I think there'll be plenty of opportunities for the Ravens to continue to rush the ball, and Kareem Hunt get me a pretty safe performance.
Well, I think a guy who could give you a safe performance this week is Austin Hooper, who I've got as a sleeper in this week's game. Right now, he is the only healthy tight end on the Browns roster. They're dealing with injuries, with COVID issues. They don't have anybody else really at the position. But on top of it, Baker Mayfield targets tight ends at a higher rate than almost every other starting quarterback in the league. And the Ravens, they've gotten better against the tight end position, but still giving up the 3rd most fantasy points per game to tight ends. With so much inconsistency in the passing game, Hooper could get a lot of looks from Mayfield this week.
Just a couple of beat-up teams. Hopefully, as Kimmy said, the game's a little bit better than it was the last time. The Falcons and the Panthers, Marcus, what are you doing?
Well, I think we are starting Chuba Hubbard. That's what we're doing. I knew that. We're starting Chuba Hubbard in this one because part of it is the Panthers want to run the football this week. At least that's what we believe. They changed offensive coordinators. Jeff Nixon steps in place of the departed Joe Brady. And I do think this is going to be good for Cam. I also think it's going to be good for Chuba Hubbard against the Falcons, who have the 20th ranked run defense in the National Football League. I'm expecting a lot of opportunity and some holes for Hubbard to open up this week.
I say, what's that bear doing, first off? I say start Robbie Anderson because the numbers of the Panthers, you're going to be like, Patrick, what are you doing? The numbers are just so thrown off. They played 2 of the hottest defenses in football on the football team and the Dolphins. Afterwards, they tried to fire the offensive coordinator. They couldn't get in touch with him, so they had to fire him when he came back into the building. A lot has gone on, but when Cam came back, the first time he got back on the field, he found Robbie Anderson for a touchdown. Better days ahead, and I'm looking at this like it's week 1. It's worth a flyer against the Falcons, a top 10 defense when it comes to charity for wide receivers on the other team. Another divisional matchup, Jags and the Titans. Marcus.
Well, I think we got Trevor Lawrence as a sleeper for this one. I know it's been a struggle for Lawrence and most of the Jags offense for a lot of this season, but the best game he's had this year in fantasy came in week 5 against this same Titans defense. Finished as the QB 10 that week. The Titans have struggled against quarterbacks. 7 different players at the position have had multiple passing touchdowns in a game against Tennessee. Plus, just a side note, Tennessee giving up 4 rushing touchdowns to quarterbacks, tied for the 2nd most. So, just in the event that Lawrence decides to get out of the pocket and stretch his legs, maybe he finds his way into the end zone, too.
Yes, do it, Trev. Do it, Trev. And get the ball to James Robinson also. Free him. And on the other side, I say you start Nick Westbrook-Ikine because you should have never stopped starting him. The man's a big part of the passing game. Last game he played, he got 83% of the snaps and 6 targets. I'm going to keep banging this drum. One, because it's against the Jags, and he's coming off the bye to be better incorporated into this offense. We're back on Fantasy Live, getting into the final round of our Sunday showdowns, the Lions and the Broncos, and there's a lot of news on this one. They had 22 players in Detroit miss practice on Thursday. They have guys with flu-like symptoms, guys on the COVID list, so there's a lot happening. So somebody's going to have to step up, Kimmy.
I think it's going to have to be Josh Reynolds. That's why I have him as a sleeper this week. I know earlier in the season we joked that there were some quarterbacks who had to go introduce themselves to guys on the team. That may actually indeed be the case for Jared Goff and this Lions offense. Josh Reynolds actually leads the Lions with 83 air yards a game since week 11. Over the last 2 games, he's actually silently been pretty productive as well. 139 yards off of 12 targets and a touchdown. So Josh Reynolds may be the only hope for Detroit.
I've got a hope, and that's why I'm saying you must start Jerry Jeudy. The Lions insisted on playing man against Justin Jefferson, and he went off. Watching the highlights on the show made me think of making this pick because, not saying that Jerry Jeudy and Justin Jefferson are basically the same player, but I do think he's better than the cornerbacks that the Lions do have on the roster for Sunday, and he should be open and get into the end zone because he hasn't done it. Well, he's done it in 2021. The problem is that was January. That was last season. So, Jerry, get into the end zone. We need you, man. I want it for you. Let's get to the Seahawks and the Texans, Florio. What are we doing?
I'm going to start DK Metcalf, and I know a couple of weeks ago that would have been obvious, but then he hit this little slump. But last week, his targets, air yards, red zone usage, they were all up, and the Texans give up the second most yards per target on deep passes. And I know people are like, oh, they struggle against the run. Seattle can run on them. We've seen the Seattle backfield. They're going to have to throw. So start DK Metcalf.
Oh, I'm going to go with a sleeper on the other side, and that's David Johnson. I mean, you heard Kimmy talk about Rex Burkhead, so let's just party like it's 2015.
Hey.
It's down to a 2-man backfield there in Houston once Phillip Lindsay. Look, it's pretty much just going to be Johnson and Burkhead there. The Seahawks giving up the second most fantasy points per game to running backs. They've given up the most receiving yards to running backs this year. By the way, Mark Ingram hasn't played for the Texans in 6 weeks. He still leads this team in total touches.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It hasn't been good. It hasn't been good. Nope. Let's get to the Saints and the Jets, Florio. What are we doing with Taysom Hill?
I must start him, eat flipper and all. I mean, last week, 21 fantasy points, despite 4 interceptions. He's not going to throw 4 interceptions. He might not even throw 4 passes against the Jets with that hand. But 100 rushing yards, he can do that again against the Jets, who struggle more than any other team in the league against the run. Plus, they've allowed the 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks over the last 7 weeks. So I'm definitely playing Hill everywhere I have him.
I'm going to say on the other side, you beware Elijah Moore. I know he's so good, but he's banged up, officially questionable for the game. And the offense is going up against the defense. We talked about the injury problems on the Saints offense. The Saints defense has those as well, but C.J. Gardner-Johnson might be coming back. The defense still one of the best in the league. I think if you're counting on Elijah Moore, he might not even play, and the matchup just isn't very good. So beware there. And finally, New York visiting Los Angeles. Kimmy, do you trust Saquon this week?
Yeah, I do. I know last week I was like, sit him, I'm done with him. But the only reason I do like Saquon this week is because, 1, what else do the Giants have? And 2, the matchup's really good against the Chargers. The Chargers have allowed a rushing touchdown to a running back in 8 straight games and also allowed the second most rushing yards to running backs this season. If there could ever be a get-right game for Saquon Barkley this season, it's in week 14, against the Chargers. So one last chance, Saquon. Do not disappoint me ahead of the playoffs.
Saquon Barkley is really the only notable Giant playing, so that's why the Chargers defense are a must start this week. I mean, all of their Giants receivers are limited and banged up right now. Mike Lennon is making the start. Oh, and the Chargers last week scored 20 fantasy points against a good Bengals offense, the most amongst all defenses. I think they can do that again against this weak Giants offense.